Jump cuts are good for showing quick action in a program, but can be somewhat jarring, especially going from a dark sequence to a bright sequence. To slow things down a little, the more gentle transition of a crossfade is useful. For the crossfade, we're going to use the image strips we've already imported into Blender, and use the settings in the Properties panel to create the crossfades. With the Properties panel open, right-click on the image strip in Track 2. You'll see the first frame of that strip. Set the current frame to that number by entering it in the Current Frame box on the timeline. One of the settings in the Properties tab for our image strip is opacity. That can be any value from 0 to 1, with 0 being completely transparent and 1 being completely opaque. We want to change these values at certain times to achieve our crossfade. Click in the opacity box and change the value to 0. Press Enter to lock in the change. Hover your mouse pointer over that box and press I on the keyboard. You'll see the background of that box change from gray to yellow. That means you have set a keyframe. According to Wikipedia, the keyframe in animation and filmmaking is any frame that defines the starting and ending points of any smooth transition. Now move the current frame to the last frame of the strip in Track 1. Make sure that the strip in Track 2 is still selected. Enter 1 in the opacity box and press Enter to lock in the change. Set the keyframe by once again hovering the mouse pointer over that box and pressing I on the keyboard. Because you've set the beginning and ending keyframes for that transition, the software will interpolate the settings between them. Move along the timeline between these keyframes to see the result in the preview window. Do a similar crossfade between the strips in Track 2 and 3. In our next lesson, we'll look at compositing and alpha channels.